Kim, and I'm here to answer all your writing questions. We have a few questions today. A question from Jill about the opening of a novel. What's the best way to start one? It's really important to remember that the opening of the novel has to function as an invitation to the reader. So it's got to invite the reader in some way. So it's best to start with some kind of narrative interest, a point of narrative interest that makes the reader wonder, what's going to happen? You don't want to do long exposition. You don't want to do a big info dump or backstory. You just want to get the reader to wonder what's going to happen enough so that they turn the pages. Jill's particularly interested in how we do this with a parallel narrative because, yeah, you've kind of got to indicate from the front that the parallel narrative is going to take place. So we need to show a little bit of each. One of the best ways to do this, if you're pushed for space, for example, if the publisher has asked you to submit just 10 or 20 pages, is maybe to put one of the narratives in a prologue. So 1 to 2 pages. Prologues should never be more than 1 to 2 pages in one viewpoint or in one time period, and then the first chapter can be in the other viewpoint or the other time period. Next question. Belinda has had a reader of her manuscript say that she should cut one of Belinda's favourite supporting characters. This is a murder your darlings question. Should I murder my darlings? Well, I think the first thing you need to do, Belinda, is you need to get a second opinion before you kill somebody. That's just a good rule for life. I think that if you're feeling that the character, as you say, adds a bit of fun and light to the story, and you think that the book needs that fun and light, then maybe the character belongs there. Secondary characters don't belong in books if they replicate the function of another secondary character. So if you've got two that are doing the exact same thing, being the funny sidekick, then one of them definitely has to go. Secondary characters, also you've got to look out for them stealing the scene. I mean, if they're so funny that your main character looks like, you know, a really boring human being, then perhaps you need to give some of that secondary character's line, some of their light and fun to your main character. But I would say get a second opinion and then think about the way that fun and light work in your manuscript, how important they are and how ready you are to let that go, or maybe just to tone it down a bit so that it's not distracting from the main plot. Next question from Ian. How do you know when a book is ready to submit? You don't. We're all guessing all the time. I shouldn't have submitted about half of mine that are published. I should have worked on them a bit longer. But once it's published, you know. The problem with writers is that we're all a bit sort of driven and we're always thinking we can do better. And the truth is that there's no perfect manuscript. One of the problems with working the same manuscript for years and years, as you've been doing, is that you'll start to get stale on it, and also there's an opportunity cost. The longer you work on this manuscript, the longer it is before you start the next manuscript, and the next manuscript might be the gold. You might have to write 10 manuscripts before you get to gold. I wrote 10 manuscripts before I was published. So don't be afraid to get it out there and move on. Having said that, you've done the right thing in being careful, in doing a draft and in editing it and in gaining feedback and all of those things. You've done everything right, so you can be fairly confident that you're sending out the best manuscript you can at this point in time. It may not be successful, but go you for having a good work ethic. Zoe is in a writing rut. She hasn't written anything since Christmas. How do I get back into writing? Yes, there's only one way to get back into writing, and I think you probably already know what it is. That's right, you've got to write something. Infernal circle of viciousness. The thing is, the longer you don't write, the further away you are from it, the more you fall out of your story. If it's a particular story you're working on, like a novel or something, I can highly recommend setting your timer, getting out a notebook, and for 10 minutes every day for a week, just pick up your pen and have it poised over your notebook. You don't necessarily need to write anything. Just have it poised over your notebook and let that 10 minutes pass and don't think about anything but your book. I guarantee you'll start writing something. You might just start writing notes about a scene. Then after that week, what you need to do is then say, today I'm going to write 90 words. Any schmuck can write 90 words. Come on. And I bet once you start, you'll write more than that. And then set another goal for the next day, say 210 words. And then set another goal for the next day, which is maybe 302 words. really, really small goals. Just make a little bit of time every day, so half an hour every day to do it, and slowly but surely you'll get back in. Writing is one of those things where once you start, the ideas start to come. You know, when you're writing a shopping list, you get out a piece of paper, you write down soap, toothpaste, and just the act of writing it reminds you of all the other things that you need to buy. It's the same with your story. You just need to get back into it. And last question from Angelica, how do you know what genre your story is? I thought mine was young adult. They said it was new adult, but maybe it's romance. There's a difference between genre and market. Young adult is a market. It's written for young adult readers, and young adult blends with other genres. So what you've got on your hands by the sounds of it is a young adult or new adult, if the characters are slightly older, romance novel. And that's all well and good. Don't get too hung up on it. I do realise that it's important when you're submitting to know what you're submitting to. I'm actually a little surprised that you don't know what you're submitting to. What is it you read? Who are you targeting, and why are you targeting that particular market? Chances are it's new adult romance, which, yay for you, is a hot genre, and there's plenty of publishers who might be interested in reading that. But what I would do is go stand in a bookshop and read back cover blurbs and figure out what's going on in that market and where exactly you sit, so that when you are ready to approach a publisher, you're able to articulate a little more clearly what it is you're doing. That's it for now. We'll see you next time. Bye.